Good morning. It's so good to be with you all today. It's December already, which is amazing. And this month at South Church, we're exploring the theme of stillness and what that means for us as Unitarian Universalists. And stillness gave Jen a really great idea for a story about a snowflake. So we'd like to share that story with you today. It's titled Tiny Snowflake. When you're listening to the story, I invite you to close your eyes. Because sometimes when we close our eyes and listen to a story, it lets our minds go to different places and helps us to imagine and feel things in the story in a different way. So if you feel comfortable doing that, go ahead and close your eyes and we're going to tell you a story.
Once upon a time, on a cold and starry night, a snowflake was formed high in the sky. She was lovely and symmetrical, and she liked to twirl and float around in the cloud where she was formed. But as time went on, new snowflakes kept forming and the cloud got crowded. After a while, there was no more room to twirl or spin, and the more snowflakes there were squished together in that cloud, the more restless they all became. The little snowflake missed the space she used to have, and being constantly bumped around by other snowflakes was getting pretty tiring.
Then, one dark night, a big wind blew, and more than half of the snowflakes spilled out of the cloud. Our little twirling friend watched as they fell down toward the earth and disappeared from sight. It looked really fun, and it was lovely to watch. Once they were all out of sight and the wind stopped, there was quite a bit more room and things felt easier again. There was space to twirl and spin and dance. But soon our little snowflake friend felt restless again. She was a bit tired of staying in the same place all the time, now that she knew snowflakes could leave, and she wondered what was outside of the cloud. In frustration, she started bumping into other snowflakes on purpose. As she twirled, they'd get pretty annoyed at her and say frustrated things. She wasn't having much fun, neither was anyone else. She was also feeling pretty sure she was missing out on something wonderful.
So, one cold moonlit night, she decided to leave like the others had. They had all left as a big group, but she was tired of others and thought she was better off alone. She was so excited for the adventure ahead, and she wiggled, she built up a little momentum, and then she leaped right out of the cloud and began to fall. The fall felt wonderful. The air currents moved her tiny snowflake body back and forth and around in a way that felt like dancing. But soon, as she turned, she saw an enormous jet come straight toward her, and she couldn't move out of the way. She ended up caught right up against the windshield of that jet, face to face with the pilot, suddenly moving entirely too fast through the sky, unable to control her little body. It was terrifying. But then the jet veered kind of north, and a new wind blew her off the windshield.
Now she was falling and tumbling again, free and moving toward the earth. But it wasn't long before she found herself mixed up in a rain shower. This was terrible news because colliding with a raindrop would be quite a misfortune for a snowflake. She was very much determined not to melt, so she worked harder than ever to dodge the falling raindrops, trying to move across the shower. There were many close calls, but she made it to the edge of the shower and she caught some nice cold air again.
Still shaking from her scary encounters, she could see the earth down below. The little snowflake was getting close now, and there was a blanket of white covering the ground. All the snowflakes who had left before her. She was feeling tired, worn out, and very much wanted to rest. but a slight breeze pushed her just enough that she got caught in a tangle of little branches near the top of a tree. This was an uncomfortable place to land, and it was also really lonely. She could see thousands or millions or billions or trillions of snowflakes on the ground below, but here she was all alone in a scratchy, sticky treetop. She was so tired, but she could not rest.
As it always eventually does, the air shifted, and a small gust moved the branches, and the snowflake once again was released. This time she floated ever so slowly and gently down, and with one final twirl, landed without the tiniest sound on the snow blanket. She sighed with so much relief. She looked up at the moon and the stars on this clear, crisp night. Everything was quiet, except for the occasional beautiful sound of an owl in the distance. It was so peaceful, and there she lay in the stillness, held gently, lovingly, by all of the countless other snowflakes around her. There was no bumping or complaining here. There was only stillness, and the little snowflake slept soundly, resting up for future adventures, or maybe she'd be lucky enough to be rolled into a snowball by some children.
We miss you and we love you, and we dream of being able to play with you soon.